Let's see what new changes got introduced with the version 4.6.0 with respect to creating the WebDriver instance and invoke the browser. Basically, the Selenium manager was introduced. Now with the help of this, we don't have to create or set the path for the Chrome drivers. We will see how the execution now works in the local setup and remote setup. So let's see the local setup first for the versions greater than 4.6.0. So over here, first of all, let's see the pom.xml file, and over here let's just update the language bindings version. So the latest version is 4.8.0. so once we have this, we need to make sure we are using this version. And then on the code side, as you can see, we have to just create the instance of the driver, and that's it. We are not setting up the path, and if we run it, it will create the driver instance and the browser can be invoked. Whereas in the pre-versions, there was a requirement of setting up the path for this particular property, and we have to specifically tell like what is the location of the driver. Once this was set, only then after it we have to create the instance of the driver, and then only the browser will get invoked. But with help of the new versions, we don't have to do this anymore, and this is how the things will work. Now coming on to the second setup, which is the remote setup. We have to make sure that we are using the Selenium grid of a version greater than 4.6.0. So once you run it, so the Selenium grid has started, and we have not configured any path for any drivers in the path variable. And is there any change with respect to the code we do? No, there is no change. As you can see, we have to just again create the Chrome options here, and then we are passing it in the remote WebDriver object with the path of the grid and the browser options, and this will execute. Now for the versions which are less than the 4.6.0, so similar to this version here, which is less than 4.6.0, if we run the Selenium grid in this with this version, and we have still not configured any path for the drivers, you can see it throw an error. So over here it is basically saying that no drivers have been configured or have been found on path, right? So this is what the difference is between the both the versions. So earlier there was a foundation that you have to provide the path of the drivers which were placed at the path variable on the environment variables, but now there is no such requirement. You can just simply download the grid and then just execute it in the standard mode. Again, the way we have to execute was similar, so there is no change in the code. So that's it. That's the change which we have in both the cases, the local setup and the remote setup. So overall, with this new version, we are getting Selenium Manager, which is taking care of this driver path, and we don't have to configure it ourselves. Hope this was informative. Thank you for watching. Keep learning and keep watching Pod Test. Also, please subscribe to the channel.